Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Rent Money. Got your boy Texas Pete here, back from a brief hiatus last week. Was feeling under the weather. We're back. We are so fucking back. I got my boys Old Chisholm, Run It Back Jones with us in studio. We are going to recap a monster Week 5 slate of the year, games of the year, whatever you guys want to call it. It did not disappoint. It started off early with our sweet Haynes King pulling off another OT thriller in Manila. Seriously, this guy has played the most amount of overtime games in college football probably ever. Illinois with a big win at home versus USC. Kansas State finally won a game. LSU at Ole Miss showdown, and Lane Kiffin gets the last word. More to come on that. Heartbreaking Kinnick, our sweet Filipino prince that was promised, delivers again, and much, much more. Not every week can deliver like last week's slate of the year, games of the year, but that's okay. We're still here to deliver to you guys the same college football content you know and love, along with bonus content like we discussed the dark side of sports betting on a social aspect. Run It Back Jones love triangle with Dan Lanning and Ron Livingston, and the upcoming Week 6 slate that we dub Apple Orchard Weekend, baby. But first, a word from our new presenting sponsor for this week's episode, Magic Shell. Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You're sitting down with a bowl of ice cream and it's good, but it's missing that something, that wow factor. Well, that's where Hershey's Magic Shell comes in. Just pour it on top, wait a couple seconds, and then boom, it's like magic. It hardens into that perfect chocolate shell. You crack into it, you get that crunch, and suddenly your ice cream goes from ordinary to unforgettable. Unfucking forgettable ice cream. It's the same rich Hershey's chocolate you know and love, now turning every scoop into a mini dessert adventure. So whether you're treating yourself after a long day or making dessert for the whole family, make it magic with Hershey's Magic Shell. Find it in the ice cream toppings aisle. Everybody knows where that is in the grocery store. And turn any bowl of ice cream into an experience worth saving. I know old Chisholm, first thing he does when he goes to his local Piggly Wiggly, when he goes to his Harris Teeter, his Publix, he goes straight to the ice cream toppings aisle and gets Mrs. Chisholm her Hershey's Magic Shell toppling for a little sweet treat at the end of the night. Am I wrong?
You're not, but to take it a step further, Mrs. Chisholm, big fan of Crunch Coat, if you're familiar. So
no free ads, but you could probably
at
find
the end of the day, if you're
going to
give a hard synthetic shell, it's not going to be from one of yours truly. But you got to deliver either way.
That was a good Harry Carey, if that's what you were going for.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to Hershey's Magic Shell for sponsoring this week's episode of Rent Money. Let's get into it. Woo! We are back, coming off a monster slate. I'll be emceeing this episode for the Rent Money faithful this weekend, but I still got the trusty steeds, Run It Back Jones and Old Chisholm. How we feeling, fellas?
I mean, I'm looking at Chisholm. He looks good. He looks great. I'm feeling all right. Could be feeling better, Cubs took a tough L today, but they got one yesterday, and tomorrow's a new day, and they're gonna be out there playing ball. The Red Sox are in motion
as we speak. Yeah, I got the game on. 100%. It's tied the 8th. No free ads, but somewhere out there, Jared Carabas is on a live Twitter. Guess what? So are we. We're talking shop. We could do it all.
Ultimately, if it sounds like I have Jolly Rancher Laffy Taffy in my mouth, it's because I do.
That's wonderful. I know we are all casual seam heads here. Mr. Jones is coming back off of Wrigley Field, where our faithful college football listeners probably recognize the Iowa versus Northwestern game from a couple of years ago. Not Chisholm. Mr. Jones, how would you rate the atmosphere compared to that Big Ten West showdown that you went to a couple of years back?
Ultimately, what I would say is that baseball is a game of pauses, right? When it comes to football, especially college football, the pauses are filled with noise. Hey, in between downs, we're going to get loud. Baseball is a little bit more of a gentleman's sport. It's a little quieter. But the Wrigley faithful have been doing their best. We've been getting loud. We've been getting excited. And today was just one of those days where there wasn't a lot to cheer about. No runs scored from the Wrigley faithful. for the Wrigley faithful. And so we did our best. We got after them. We got loud, but it's nothing like a college football game, right? Where the loudness is very impactful. And we saw that last week with some of these home games too. The crowds make a difference in college football. And that's why we love it.
Definitely. Although one thing that the home teams didn't necessarily fare well last weekend, which kind of brings us into the first game that I want to talk about. We kind of alluded to it. Jesus fucking Christ. In the open,
all the above.
But the LSU at Ole Miss game, going into this, LSU I had circled preseason as an SEC favorite to come out, definitely make an appearance in the SEC title game, maybe have some national championship hopes. Fell short to Ole Miss last weekend, 24-19. Lane Kiffin, Whit Weeks, Landry Kiffin, all of them. It's a fuck fest over there. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Kiffin, he got the last word. I don't know if you guys saw this tweet that was going around, or I guess a clip of the video. But Whit Weeks was seen puking on the field during a play. And then someone commented on it. Lane, puked into his hands, mind you, and he caught it. That's what I want out of my fucking linebacker, which is awesome. That already bumps him up a whole draft.
Gotta try and save it.
But someone tweeted at Lane Kiffin, "What did you feed this boy before the game?" And one word, Lane Kiffin responded, "Tempo." And tempo.
Whoa, I thought he might say pussy. Okay.
Not quite. Tempo is what he brought running down the LSU defense, although they still kind of held their own, held them to 24 points, but obviously it wasn't enough. Garrett Nussmeier wasn't able to put it up. He kind of had a rather disappointing game last weekend, and I'm trying to pull his stats, but I think he had a pick in the second half that really kind of turned me off a little bit, something that you wouldn't expect from a player of his caliber, or a player of his caliber that he should be almost, that, the kind of praise that the media was warranting to him. This was conflicting with one of other games that we're going to be talking about here shortly. That's near and dear to our hearts. But do you guys have any takeaways from this game that you kind of really want to address to the Rent Money faithful or going forward in the season?
First of all, Brian Kelly killed a guy, say his name, Declan Sullivan. Second of all, it's very, very important that we call out everything that Brian Kelly was like, "We won. What do you mean? Why are you mad?" All of the questions that were relevant criticisms, mind you, are the exact reasons that LSU did not win this football game. This is a team that has yet to establish the run in any game that they've played all season. And you can see it in the rushing yard. I don't even think they had 60 yards rushing against this team.
57 last week.
57 last week. Exactly. Compared to what? 119 was the number that I saw from Ole Miss. Like, yeah, Lane, that's called coaching your team to a victory. Putting, what is Chambliss, like a true freshman or a redshirt freshman? I know he's a young buck, and he started out slow, but gradually got to the point where he was able, son of a bitch, Red Sox just gave up a run in the 8th.
No.
Yeah, that's all right. We got game 3 tomorrow if we can't get it back. Focusing on what's important, though.
I love your pencil thin mustache.
I'm working on it. Yeah, so I want to call that out, too. For the playoffs, you got to go clean shave. I'm obviously prepping up for Movember, which we're a month out away. But, the Boston Red Sox, the Boston faithful, one of my favorite memories of watching them in the playoffs growing up is, growing out the playoff beard, obviously. Got to get yourself right for that. So it's good to see a lot of the guys starting to get scraggly. But, it's, we're going to need some help. We're going to need to persevere, much like the LSU Tigers offense when it comes to establishing a ground game. No Caden Durham last game. Obviously, that doesn't help. But it's a consistent, systematic inability to establish the run. And I think that's something that prevents LSU from being that upper echelon tier team, i.e. in Oregon going on the road and getting a big win, i.e. Ohio State being able to trot out a true freshman and be just fine against the number 1 team in the country week 1. Like, there's just certain niche things that Brian Kelly will do very well and year in, year out. But there's always going to be an Achilles heel or a gaping hole that if you're a good enough coach and you have the talent, you can take advantage of that and ensure that your team's going to scrap out a win. That's exactly what Lane Kiffin did.
Brian Kelly's a floor raiser. He's not a ceiling lifter. You get the floor raised, you're going to get 9 wins. We saw all the same problems that we saw within the Florida win. They won that game. Florida sucks. They beat Clemson. Awesome. Big preseason matchup. Clemson sucks. What are we looking at here? I mean, LSU, they have everything we want. They have all the players. They have all the talent. Brian Kelly floor raiser, not a ceiling lifter. It's hard to watch at times because the best Brian Kelly coach team should be a perfect matrimony between hard-nosed, run-it football and great defense. But they're missing half the equation. There's no hard-nosed running football, and it's just hard to watch. You got that's all I got to say about it. It's just like you got to have two sides to make a marriage, and he's only got one of them right now. The D.
100%. And to Brian Kelly's defense, which he deserves some defense time and time again, but their defense, LSU's defense, has been extremely better than it has been in the past 3 seasons.
Oh, it's
so
nasty.
There is noticeable improvement on that front, but clearly still not able to run the ball. As Chisholm mentioned, they only had 57 rush yards last week. Not going to get the job done. But I think it's time we might have a serious conversation about Ole Miss being contenders. SEC contenders, national title contenders. They're currently ranked 4th in the AP poll. They're 5-0, and they have a pretty favorable schedule going forward. As far as conference play is concerned, really the only 2 that ranked matchups they have left on the season is on the road in both of them. So take that with a grain of salt, but it's Georgia and Oklahoma. So if they can find a way to split those games, they're going to be playing in the SEC title game, because outside of that, they have Florida, Mississippi State, and South Carolina, all of them which are definitely doable.
Lane's only got one other daughter. She's in high school, so I don't know how he's going to get the team fired up about it. But maybe there's a Friday Night Lights game. So, yeah, maybe that's true. But, yeah, you're right. Georgia and Oklahoma, I mean, not a lot to get excited about, but Ole Miss is ready for bigger and better things. Here's what's going to fucking piss me off. We got LSU,
what's going to piss you off?
We mentioned, Florida, Clemson, both pretty mediocre. I think we've seen enough football now to say that mediocre at best, ass at worst about those teams. AP poll, we're doing a flip ski. LSU is going from 4. If you beat them, you just get moved up in there. Ole Miss is going to have one of the weakest schedules of the season. I think they're a deserving team. They should be in the college football playoff, but I'm already starting this early, boys. Come on. Some of these SEC teams are not playing anybody. Why should we get excited? But I love it. Sometimes you got to put your daughter's boyfriend in a body bag, and that's what Lane did.
Definitely a monster win for all the dads out there. I mean, you can't draw it up better than that. Okay, you're hard launching your relationship with my daughter. I'm going to go punch you in the fucking nose on the football field and send you guys soaring down the AP rankings.
On national television.
Dad of the week. Dad of the week. I'll put it out there.
I relate to Whit. He's not the first kid to go to prom with somebody's daughter and throw up in the same night. He's not the first guy to do it.
For sure. So that was good and jolly. Everybody's having a good time. I don't want to bring the mood down a little bit, but I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the almost greatest upset of the past weekend, and that's going to be the Indiana Hoosiers coming into Kinnick Stadium to square off with our Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa fell a close one, had a lead in the fourth quarter, let it slip. Drew Stevens, our stud kicker, who nailed a 50-plus yarder to tie the game earlier on, misses a 43-yarder at a very pivotal moment in the game. The defense stepped up for us big in this game, but ultimately we fell short 20-15. I felt like this was almost the Iowa defense of old, where they're going to be coming in. And mind you, Indiana scored on their opening possession. So for the remaining, I don't know, what is that? Rest of the, 3.5 quarters of the game, we only let up 13 points, which is pretty damn impressive, including a monster takeaway in the fourth quarter where we had an interception, returned it back to our side of the field, and put our team in a position to go ahead and get some points. Unfortunately, quarterback goes down. Very disappointing. God, it was such a tease, too. He was on the cycling bike trying to loosen up that ankle a little bit, but we had to bring in the Auburn product, Hank Brown, who made some throws. Didn't connect on any of them, but he did make some throws. God, man, I was at a bar.
Yeah.
He didn't connect on any of them. I think he made maybe one, maybe two. But I was at a bar. I popped over there around halftime once I saw this was actually a close game and we were tied. So I go and meet up with Mrs. Pete, and there is a table of Hoosier faithful across from me. So we got into a cheer off, and then I had some rallying support from a table behind me who just so happened to bet on the Iowa team. And I was wearing my Iowa polo that day as well. So they clearly saw. But so we had them outnumbered, but ultimately they left happy. They had some young children with them too, donning some, I don't know, what is it? Crimson and cream. Is that the Indiana colors? Red and cream. It's crimson and cream. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I got little Rugrats running around me who are just cheering for Indiana right when they took the lead and scored essentially the game-winning touchdown. And I wanted to kick him in the head, but I didn't because I'm a good man. I'm a God-fearing, tax-paying citizen, so I didn't. But what were your guys' takeaway from this Iowa game? Is there any optimism left in Kinnick Stadium where we can pull off a big upset down the road against Penn State or Oregon? Or is this kind of, same old season, Kirk riding off into the sunset?
Penn State, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
100% agree with you.
I mean, this game turned me into Chisholm. This game made me all the things I love you, Adam. All the things I fucking hate about Chisholm this game turned me into that.
I'm sorry.
I was so negative after the fact, so down, so sad. There were so many opportunities where, Dan Campbell, you drag him out there, you drown him. The Hawkeyes drowned the Hoosiers at Kinnick. The Kinnick faithful are getting loud. They're going crazy. And we set ourselves up in perfect position to set ourselves up to win. Interception. Fuck. All right. Screwed. Oh, my God. Did it again. Wait. Hold up a second. Interception on our end. We're taking it back. We're going. Here we go. We're setting up. We have 2nd and 5, right? We're acting like we're NFL coaches, which I've already have a whole gripe to pick. The NFL coaches already overestimate their kickers at all times. We've seen so many blocked kicks, missed field goals. You can't settle for a 50-yarder. College football, you can't settle for a 45-yarder either. It's 2nd and 5. Just fucking hammer the ball, boys. We got the best O-line in the country. Worst case scenario, you're going to end up in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. We drop back to pass it. Ridiculous. So now we're in 3rd and 5. Dude, just hammer the ball. Sucks that Drew Stevens missed that kick, but it also sucks that we did not put him in a position where that missed kick would have ended up in overtime and let alone set them up for to return the favor the other way. Pretty disappointing loss. I haven't felt this down and this sad about an Iowa game in a long time, knowing that we did everything that we set out to do. If the coaching staff said, hey, here's our 4 goals for the game, the team hit all 4 goals except for win at special teams. And they did not win at special teams, which is something Iowa football has done for a long time. I'm pretty much as down bad as I've been in a long time because this could have been the catalyst to a season that could have been special. And now I'm kind of like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, It's the 2nd time this year that Iowa's done that, right? Like Iowa State game, exact same thing.
Had this.
I was like, I didn't get to watch this game. I had to keep up like with the play-by-play. So my opinion on the game itself is irrelevant outside of the fact that just it felt like I've already seen this movie. I was like, I've already seen this. That was week 2. I don't understand how there's no changes or things being made. It's just questionable decisions too, where it's like, stick to your guns at some point. Like, don't force the pass when it's your backup quarterback that's been in the system for less than 4 months. And
we're going to run a screen pass.
And then
what are we doing?
To double down on that sentiment too and be like, that was a home run play if it was open. Like, well, guess fucking what? You're too predictable. You're too predictable. Once again, even when you try to change it up and pass the ball, it's behind the line of scrimmage and it's in a spot where they're playing man defense, I believe, right? I don't think there's a zone play in the world in which you're going to blow that up and pick off a screen pass. But like, we don't have the skill players to be able to run zone defensive breaking pass plays. We don't have the quarterback without Gronkowski too. And even with Gronkowski,
that's what happens though.
Even with Gronkowski, like
he's out.
It's the dual threat that is the fear. Like the Wake Forest slow mesh stuff I was excited about because you have the offensive line for it and you have a dual threat quarterback that can make a play with his legs if need be. Hank Brown is not ever going to be the answer, or at least not for this season.
I'm physically disgusted, Adam.
It's very like
disgusted.
It's very reminiscent of Nebraska losing to Michigan in like a close game. Should have won it, could have won it, didn't get it done.
That was one of those games where they did so many things right. They made them do everything we wanted them to do, except win. And I was so despondent. Because you know what? You ask everybody, like, hey, let's make this an Iowa football game. But something's happened in these last 3 or 4. You make it an Iowa football game, they lose. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little sick.
Losing at your own brand of football is the hardest pill to swallow, I think. And that's
well
why
said.
it's such a tough one. But two other things I know, unless there's more to cover, just two quick hitters. One, I want to pour one out really, really quick for one of my personal favorite coaches that I've ever seen in my lifetime, Sam Pittman, getting canned by Arkansas
So random.
right after getting his cheeks spread and just no good occurred during that Notre Dame game. But the consistency of quotes from him at their highest of highs, they're like, Sam, what are you going to do after this? He's like, I'm not promoting it, y'all, but I might go home and I might have me a cold beer. I might have a cold beer. It never was.
How much is the buyout?
I hope it's a lot. I hope he gets to just never do anything. But he's one of the best O-line coaches good enough to be able to be a head coach.
Smooth transition, Chisholm. Smooth transition. I'm down to talk about that Arkansas Notre Dame game. I will say,
we can touch on it. We don't need to.
The victors get the spoils. Shout out Mendoza. Shout out Indiana. They did the job. Mendoza made some huge throws in big moments. I'd be remiss if I didn't just give him his flowers. That was Indiana knew going into this game. I mean, Signetti said it himself. It's going to be a lot tougher than Illinois because of the Kenny Faithful. But they went there and they took care of business. At the end of the day, they got it done. So victors goes the spoils, and we'll give them some clout.
Keeping it moving forward, The only other game I want to touch on, obviously, we got to hit very quickly. Oregon getting that double OT victory over Penn State at Penn State. Two guys that I consistently can count on to let down America, but make sure there's money going back into my pocket. Number one, James Franklin. The guy cannot win a big game to save his life. But number two, Drew Aller. This guy just isn't it. I know everybody wants to pretend that he is, but watching Bo Pribula, whatever his last name is, at Missouri, having a much better season, seemingly, I think that's going to be potentially one of the better what ifs in college football in the near future if he continues to pan out and have a great season while Aller continues to just suck. It's unfortunate. I know that there's some other things going around about Drew Aller at this point as well. I think Texas Pete, I believe, is our on-field reporter there. And we've discussed horniness in our quarterbacks in the past, but I think this one might be a new level. TP, what are you seeing out there?
Yeah. Before we get into the off-field semantics, just to touch on the game. The headline's going to read James Franklin still can't win the big one. Okay, it happens. Clearly, time and time again, he's fallen short in these moments, these pivotal moments, especially during the regular season. I saw a funny tweet or a post earlier that was James Franklin, anytime he plays another team with an NIL budget, and it was some stupid-ass gif of like SpongeBob, which is obviously very true, right? He dominates these teams that have no money, but anytime they square up with a worthy opponent or a similar opponent, he just falls short. But also I think that attention should be directed over to Drew Aller. This guy is just addicted to throwing picks in the biggest moments. In second overtime, he just threw just a horrible pass to the flat. I guess it was like the outside hook, but it got picked off pretty easily. Just a pass you can't make in that moment. And they obviously fell short there. But the off the field reporting.
I mean,
at the end
give me.
All right, Mr. Jones, looks like he froze up a little bit. Drew Aller. This is a segment that was hot last year when there was a flurry of SEC quarterbacks DMs being leaked to social media. And what do we have here shortly after the game? We have some scandalous, sensual messages from Drew Aller to the Nittany Lion faithful. I am not going to read these on the air, but as soon as Mr. Jones gets back in, I'm sure he's just chomping at his britches too. But that brings up a good point. We talked about it last season too when Carson Beck got leaked, but you are not a serious national title or conference championship contending program if the female women at your school leak your DMs with your starting quarterback or anybody on the football team for that matter. And that's what we had last weekend. I know Mr. Jones wanted to go ahead and read it to you guys back at home if you guys aren't privy to the conversation that was being floated around the Twitterverse. So, Mr. Jones, why don't you go ahead and
no, 100% agreed. Texas Pete, the best schools though, they got that shit under wraps. They say, hey, ladies, maybe they're in a sorority. Ladies, should I post this? They go, no, that's QB1. No, that's QB1. No, I'm gonna go ahead and read it, but I need Chisholm to be on my side left here. I got the Chisholm's got the whites. I got the blues.
Chisholm will be Drew Aller in the comments, and Mr. Jones will be the female woman from the Penn State faithful.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
All right,
you're Drew Aller.
Yeah.
Wait, no, other way around. So
No. Texas Pete, don't play God now. Don't play God now.
I am. So Mr. Jones will be Drew Aller in this situation.
Let's
Chisholm, go ahead and do your best lady voice here.
I prepped for the female part.
Yep.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Next time.
What are you doing tomorrow night?
Practice till 5, and then I'm free. Come through and suck me.
Whoa. Okay. You take things fast.
Sorry, baby. That's just how I roll. Show me what I'm working with.
What do you want to see? The roommate just left.
Texas Pete, fill in and say this one. I can't. Please, Pete. Please. All right, baby. Spread your cheeks and bend them over.
TF, would I even take that picture?
This is the best part. Use the timer on the camera. Don't be dumb.
Use the timer on the camera, says Drew Aller. This isn't his first rodeo. This is his go-to script. He's done it a time or two. First of all, hats off. Round of applause. Excellent rendition from the Rent.
Timeout.
Important man, context. I got the shades on. I'm crying, laughing behind these things.
Important.
That's a hard one.
Like important context. This is at 6:21 p.m.
Yeah, dude, this is like dinner time. He said he's calling your parents' place like somebody trying to ask you about Schwann's dinners. Use the timer, baby.
It's not a Friday or a Saturday. We know that too because he has practice until 5 the next night. So that means this has to be either like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, but it's early in the week. There's just no good place or time to do or say this. I appreciate the fact that he's like, here's how you do it,
very instructive.
Very, very willing to just share his wisdom on how to do these things. But the thumb in this photo, if you see the photo, the thumb looks like a problem. It's a dermatologist wet dream. You're going to be able to work on these hands for years to come. That is called recurring revenue. Not a good thumb. Shout out to whoever the person is that kept that, in the photo, because you didn't you should, but also the text above, next time must be juicy enough to spark the rest of this because there's a swipe up happening. So I think a little bit of instigation happening from the part of whoever's sending the messages to him. But at the exact same time, if you're Drew Aller, you need to know there's 1,000 whores, aka Persians, out there lurking. You need to find that one Spartan female that can fight all of them off, make you a better person, make you a better quarterback. Because obviously the Persians are not getting it done for you on game day. Find yourself a Spartan, Drew Aller. Find yourself a warrior poet.
A lot to be said here, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is somebody that can say it best because he was the only single starting quarterback in the NFL for 5 years straight. There's a lot of reasons why these NFL quarterbacks have significant others, have people that have their back, are rooting them on, in and out. Rodgers is one of the few that didn't. Everybody made it big deal, probably for the right reasons. Drew Aller, find yourself a sweet lady. Find yourself somebody that's not going to be screenshotting. But either
He's
way,
clearly looking for love. He's on the prowl. He's hunting for it. He's trying to find Mrs. Aller. And he said, Mrs. Aller, I need you to use the timer on the camera. That's what he said. Regardless, if you guys have been listening to Rent Money for a while, you have heard our awesome, beautifully crafted, masterfully presented renditions of these leaked quarterback DMs. So if you guys have the inside scoop to any, go ahead and send it over to us, and it might feature it on next week's episode or a future episode of Rent Money. Just to cap off last week's slate, Bama at UGA. Alabama is the number 1 team in the country. Whenever they play Georgia, I mean, Kalen DeBoer said quality meets, has Kirby Smart's number, and you know Kirby is just so pissed to lose to him back-to-back seasons, especially at home. Like UGA losing at home, I forget what the number was, but it was like 23 or 22 straight home games that they won. So this doesn't come lightly, but this Alabama team kind of, building it back. Lost week 1 against Florida State, but trying to pull the season back together. DeBoer, once again, back off the hot seat so long as he keeps on winning. But do you guys have any takeaways from this game, or are we good to go ahead and move on to our week 6 slate?
Beating Georgia, baby. That's just how Alabama rolls.
If it plays out like last year, pretty fun week to bet on Vanderbilt.
Which we shall talk about in this upcoming Apple Orchard weekend slate. But before we get there, I ran into a personal, you could call it problem last week in the midst of the fourth quarter for the Iowa and Indiana game. And that is the socially dark side of sports betting. Obviously, everybody gamble responsibly, do what you want with your money, be safe, be smart, be responsible. You know what I'm saying? If there is I believe I speak for most of the Rent Money team here, as well as the Rent Money faithful, when I say that if there's a TV within 25, 30 feet of us and there's a game on, yeah, I'm probably going to throw a little bit of action on there. But this situation last week, it crossed the line. So to paint the picture for you guys, I'm in a group chat with 3 of my close friends.
Oh, how close are they?
2 of us are Iowa alum. You can consider another one of them a pretty casual Iowa fan just through his visits throughout our time there. And then we have this 4th individual who will not be named. And in the midst of the fourth quarter, it's tied Iowa, Indiana in a close one. Iowa's on the precipice of their biggest win in the past 4 or 5 seasons. Indiana's in town. We're battling with them. He throws in an unwarranted need the Hoosiers for my parlay as we're chopping it up about the Iowa game. I just said huge stop by the Iowa defense or something like that. And that is just something that I absolutely cannot stand. Right. So I'm like I said, we're all for sports betting, do what you want, but like you can't just completely forget the fact that you're friends first, you know what I mean? And you're going to let like a measly, like $15 parlay get in your way of like cheering on your friends and their alma mater on the precipice of their biggest win in years, in seasons. And that just really didn't sit right with me. So the words that came to mind were redcoat, traitor, commie fuck, all of these, which I used to him. I really did not like it one bit. So just take a step back when you're in the heat of the moment. I know you guys, you're obviously going to be rooting for your bets.
This is a PSA about the dark side of gambling.
It's just like realize what's the bigger picture here. You know, like you don't
your
want
$10 bet isn't the end all be all.
It's not bigger than your, having a great moment for your friends and stuff like that. So just don't get so consumed by it. And I hate when as soon as you sit down and people immediately start chopping it up about their bets, like. You don't want to be that guy. No one likes being in that conversation when it's not warranted. If you're asking about it, sure thing.
Here you go, Texas Pete. Being the guy that can talk about bets, very cool. Awesome. Everybody loves it. Being the guy that can only talk about bets, probably the biggest loser in the building.
It's horrible.
If that's all you can talk about, that's all you can put your money on, that's all you can put your mouth on. Grow up. Be a man. You know what? Sometimes I like to shit on my friends' best teams for losing because I like to shit on my friends. not because I bet against them.
For sure. For sure.
There's a difference.
And there's a time and a place for it. There is a big time and a place for it. But this friend who shall not be named, he also is a
rhyme his name out. Just rhyme it out.
Of a top tier college football program who may or may not have won the championship last year.
Big Beef needs to get it together.
Big Beef.
I've not a ton of thoughts on this, but I will say just in general, we've lost the plot when it comes to being a fan of college football, and you need to be able to have a separation of church and state. And what I mean by that is when you're watching games and you're cheering as a fan, you get to cheer for your teams and you get to, have the claps and like support whatever team it is you have money on. You don't get to treat the games you have money on as if they're your fucking team, right? That's just the way it has always been. But and that's why we started this podcast, is to help educate people on how to just not be a fucking idiot when it comes to betting, A, but B, as a spectator of these games, know your place, know your role. Especially when you're with a group of people that are alumni, they've paid tens of thousands of dollars to have the right to cheer for a team.
Your $20 bet is not overriding that. Like if you're betting Trism, if you're betting too much where you're fucking losing your mind about it, then you bet too much. You're way over your skis because you are with your friends.
You're a casual. Number one is what that tells me. Number two is that you have no idea what you're doing. If you have to put all of your emotion and actually cheer, then you're not doing it the way that we do. You're gambling. We don't gamble here. We have educated, sophisticated guesses with models and other bullshit involved. And do we know what we're talking about 99% of the time? No, but we can cite, reference, and point out experts in the field that we are riding their coattails within this industry. We are not here claiming to be experts. We are here helping educate our peers that are not as experienced, that have not been doing this as long as we have not made the mistakes that we have, that have had to humble us, truthfully, in order to be able to just be a pleasant person to be around when it comes to a Saturday slate. And it's a shame that this has to get brought up, but it's a very important place that we at Rent Money,
down to it,
I'm almost done, that we continue to be the voice of the people, right? And the people need to have a set guideline or a person to follow. Barstool and like the Rent, like those guys are not the fucking answer. They never have been. It's your peers, it's your group, and it's just being a decent person at a bar. Tip your fucking bartenders, like be a human being, but also understand where you fall on the totem pole of giving shits. Typically, if you're just a guy betting on a team, you're at the bottom. The people that actually were alumni, they're going to be above you. The people that have been lifelong fans cheering for these teams since they were little, their memories that have been made with their family and, generations carrying over. That's up there. And then the very top is when it's the alumnus with, having the generations.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get better than that.
If you're on
go fuck yourself. Yeah.
If you're on first name basis with your Wrigley Field bartender, shout out Danny, either you drink too much, you go too many games, pick one. But I think what you're saying is let's MLA these sources, baby. And I'm hearing you MLA them out, dude. Come on now. Let's cite them sources. Let's get after it.
I think, Chisholm, you brought up a ton of great points there. And then just to kind of talk about one more archetype that is just brutal to be around when you're at the bars. It's the guy who threw a bunch of money on a game and he thinks he's more important. His winning is more important than your fandom.
He bet $100, you bet 10. It's all the same. You don't get bigger clout, Pete, because you bet more. Honestly, you just make me sadder.
The money means nothing at the end of the day. Like, the money is the money. Like, it comes, it goes. You pay your rent with it or you don't, right? But the fandom will always come. The pageantry and the tradition of college football, it's damn near spiritual experience for someone that's actually a fan. And for you to just show up and treat it like an NFL Sunday is
not
fucking embarrassing. The college football fandom is so much more educated and intellectually capable of holding conversation than any NFL fan. It's night and day. If you're an NFL guy, you belong there. You don't belong at the bars on a Saturday trying to talk to people that are just wanting to enjoy themselves and support their schools or just cheer for the teams that they've watched their entire lives. Like if you're an NFL fan, you get to be an asshole. You have the right to do that. It's a professional sport. It's an entertainment business. It's not even an actual sport from like a legislative standpoint. You have the same laws in place as the WWE. So like by all means, go for it. Paint your whole body. I don't give a fuck. But when it comes to college football Saturdays, you don't want to be the guy that's just like, all right, here's the fucking slate. Here's what we're throwing. Like we have civil discourse over why we think one side or the other. Never once am I going to just openly shit on someone because of their fandom of a team, unless it's like, you know, you fucking Ohio State or something. Like myself too. Like Notre Dame. I deserve
big beef.
I deserve shit as a lifelong Notre Dame fan, not having attended the university. Like, sure, yeah, like just go ahead and throw shit at me for that. I don't care. And the people that care, like, and you do, and that's, you know, it comes and you have to roll with the punches. I would never in a million years assume that I'm better or worse than anyone else because I'm a fan of a team, let alone
Mr. Chizdog. You're gonna love this story.
Okay,
for Chisholm's ears and Chisholm's ears only. If you're listening in, thank you. We were out at the bars post wedding. We were suited up, feeling fine, feeling fresh, and one of our boys said, "Ooh, hey, what's up? What's up? We're all dragging ass. I'm gonna buy us all a bunch of espresso martinis." Said, "Fuck yeah, I'm not gonna say no to a free offer for an espresso martinis." And so we rolled downstairs to the less crowded bar, and we rib them. You know, we get 6 lined up. We get a bunch of guys going, "What the fuck are you guys doing? All getting these cocktail martinis at 2 a.m." You know, that's what we're doing. We're getting the cocktail martinis. We're doing espresso martinis. Well, it turns out they're all fucking Virginia Tech fans. There you go. There's the start. I start talking to them about Caleb Airstrike drones. You know, hey, do you guys call him Airstrike? Is that something in your vernacular? You maybe should. Oh, I got a buddy. He loves betting on his, you know, Russian totals. We call him Chisholm. Blah, 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 blah. This or that. Next thing you know, we're fucking 2 hours deep into Airstrike drones talk, a little Iowa talk, and it's great, dude. That's fucking that's college football, right? College football is so much like MLB. Everybody's got their team, and if you get the 1 or 2 insides about their team, you can just get them going for them forever. It's so good. But yeah, you guys said a lot of great things. I agree with it wholeheartedly.
Good. So that was the I touched the ball before it went out, coach, sportsmanship, passing on segment of the week. Don't forget the more important things in life: friendship, family, God, country, all of that. And then at the very, very bottom, your sports bets. But that being said, going back to the picks for this upcoming slate, we got the week 6 preview. We already dubbed the Great Fall Wedding Weekend, which I will be attending this weekend, or the Apple Orchard Weekend. If you got a lady in your life, go ahead and take her to the Apple Orchard, because odds are you're not going to be missing much. But here we are in week 6. Contenders are appearing before our eyes. Good breaks, bad breaks left and right that can define a season. But surely every team in the AP top 10 has a Power 4 win on their record. Right, guys? Well, you are fucking wrong, because it's week 6. And there are 2 teams in the AP top 10 that have yet to best a Power 4 opponent. That's number 7 Penn State and number 9 Texas. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Texas is coming off a bye, but if you're an AP poll hater already, I'm sure you're gonna have a field day with this one. But it reminds me of a quote I saw earlier in the week. On paper, we are the better team. Too bad the game is played on the field. And I think that rings true for some of these programs who are consistently getting the nods despite not having the record or the past performance to back that up. But that being said, this slate kind of stinks like shit. There's a couple gems in there, which we're going to cover for better or for worse. But this is the first matchup we're going to talk about that we alluded to early on. And it is, I can't believe, if you ask the Rent Money faithful 6 seasons ago when we first started this podcast, if we'd ever cover a Vandy and Alabama game, boy, you'd be fucking crazy. But here we are in 2025, and this is actually a real game we're going to be talking about now. So Vandy is visiting Tuscaloosa. Bama is 10.5 point home favorites. Over under is at 55.5. Chisholm, Mr. Jones, if you guys have anything you want to open up on this game, go ahead and lead off.
No, this is the part of the episode where I just relinquish myself to the muscle. That is known as old Chisholm.
I am just a summation of all the thoughts and experiences that I've had and those who've come before me have had. So count yourself in that camp as well, Mr. Run It Back Jones. But yeah, this one, I'll say this. What a look ahead game last week, right? With Bama and Georgia. Obviously, DeBoer knows that's a must win if he's going to stay in that seat. But I'm assuming that that's a Vandy spot as well, where they're like, all right, we get to lick our chops a little bit. Pavia's been talking. I don't know if you saw this. Diego Pavia's locker is just in the middle of their locker room. He's not like on the sides with everyone else. His locker is just like a standalone in the middle of their locker room. The more I want to hate this guy, the more I grow to love him, because he backs it up. Like, it's very similar to Cignetti last year, where you're like, all right, this is a guy that talks way too much shit. He's at what program? Oh yeah, that's a basketball school. And then you turn around and they're in the playoff. Pavia's done nothing except excel in every single place he's gone. Vandy's been no different. And I'm a sucker for a good story, and like watching him and Clark Lee and all of those guys on the Any Given Saturday on Netflix. For those who have seen it, there's two schools that you're just pulling for every game in the SEC. It's Vandy, with Clark Lee, Pavia, and co. But then Mississippi State with Jeff Levy, and like seeing some of the early wins that they've had over ASU and stuff. I think this game, it's one where Vegas immediately reacted and opened up at 9.5. Like, this is a game that Vandy won outright last year. But apparently watching Ty Simpson and watching them kind of be able to control Georgia for the majority of that football game, if not the entirety of the football game. I think a lot of bookmakers are going to have some trouble with this one. It feels like another one of those, all right, Bama's either going to cover or Vandy wins outright. The 9.5 is such a dirty rat shit line. I personally would lean on the side of Vandy just after the brutality that is a Bama versus Georgia football game. There's no way that any player that's going to be getting snaps consistently for Bama is over 85%. That's just war. Like, you've literally just gone to war. And I know in the NFL, we used to see it all the time when you look at, say, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Ravens, right? Two very physical teams, two hated rivals. And more often than not, that next week, they just look off. They suffer wins or they suffer losses they shouldn't.
Chisholm.
I feel like this is a very similar spot where you could get Vandy in a great place, especially coming off of last year. They've proven they could do it. It's just, are they able to do it with Ty Simpson versus a Jalen Milroe, which wasn't as consistent?
How do you feel about Pavia getting mentored by Johnny Football? Is that good for Vanderbilt, or?
I think that's the best mentor that a Vanderbilt quarterback could possibly have.
Because he needs to be doing more of it.
For the sake of the program, yeah. I mean, Pavia's in a spot where everything he's doing,
more of a dick.
All the publicity that they're getting is only going to help them. Good or bad publicity, it really doesn't matter. Like, this is a school that hasn't had any publicity for decades.
Outside
and all of a sudden,
the college baseball athletics.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be cool to see the impact that he has. Like, look at the impact that Manziel had on A&M. Like, he literally took them from a who gives a fuck school to a brand new stadium, like one of the best stadiums in the country, expansions everywhere, investments from donors, etc. Like, that's kind of the spot Vandy is starting to try and get to. I would assume that their donors are successful. Like, Vanderbilt's like a prestigious school within the SEC.
To that point, Chisholm is actually so insane how much.
It's the Ivy of the SEC.
Yeah, it is the Ivy of the SEC. But it is insane how much, like, if you just reach out and can connect to one billionaire alumni that just wants your school to win more than anything else, he never ever before can one individual make such an impact on your team becoming something that you want them to be. If I was a billionaire, fuck it, A, Iowa football they'd be rolling. Not that they aren't, but good God. All right.
Phil
For
Knight.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those who may not remember the big upset last season, Vandy took down Alabama when Vandy was at home 40-35, so kind of a shootout. They took the goalpost down Broadway, they threw them in the river. It was an awesome event. But I, for one, would love to lean into a Vandy owns Alabama kind of storyline here. And it wouldn't really be the craziest thing in the world if they did pull off the upset again this weekend. They're ranked 16th in the AP poll. They've had very impressive offensive marks all season. You know, they have the fourth most points per game in the FBS. They already took down a South Carolina team. They came back in the second half against Virginia Tech when they were down and beat them by 20 points. So they've definitely shown some grit. There's some fight in this Commodore program led by Coach Lee and Diego Pavia, which we talked about already. I know I probably wouldn't be friends with Diego Pavia if given the chance, but you know what? I respect him anyways for what he's done. Bama obviously coming off the big road win against Georgia last weekend. Are they building momentum, or is maybe this the same as last year where they really only stepped up big for that Georgia program? I don't have a play on this game. Just kidding. I absolutely do. I'll cover it at the end. It might be a surprise return of an old friend here. That friend being the Triple Dipper. So stay tuned for that one. Any other takeaways from this game? But the only other game that I want to talk about is going to be the matchup of the Florida schools. That's Miami at Florida State. Florida State is 4.5-point home dogs. Over under is at 53.5. This Florida State team is coming off of a heartbreaker last weekend, losing to Virginia. Almost inexcusable for a team that opened up the season with a big win against Alabama. You know, they set their sights on an ACC championship, college football playoffs appearance, and then losing to a program like Virginia. I mean, you really, really can't feel anything good about yourself coming off of that. A rent money superstar, Thomas Castellanos. He kind of got memed last weekend. I don't know if you saw. By the way, Virginia's storming of the field was probably the best storming of the field I've ever seen in my life. They were on the field before the ball hit the ground on Castellanos' last pass in the end zone that did not connect. And they had a student that ran by him when he was at midfield, holding the bird with a camera in front of his face. I haven't seen the video footage of that quite yet. He's probably keeping it close to the chest for legal reasons. But Castellanos had a disappointing 100%. Performance, 250 yards against Virginia, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, completely inexcusable. He brings that same effort against his Hurricanes team. He's going to be in for a long day. Chisholm, you got anything on this game that you think would be the key for either this Miami or Florida State team to come out successful?
I mean, dude, just goddamn, how do you do this in conference if you're Florida State? Like, how do you beat Bama out of conference? Yep. Shock the world, we're back, whatever, and then immediately turn around and just lose to a dog shit ACC. They haven't been, and I hate saying it like this, but the most relevant headline that's come out of Virginia football, other than Kurt Benkert, was like the players that have died in shootings. Like this is a program that has like they're only known for just loss and suffering in a literal human way.
Chris Long, 3rd overall pick.
Right, but how long ago was that? I mean, this is decades ago now. Like this is like give props to the Cavaliers right now because Virginia Tech's not giving you anything really worth cheering about. Like other than airstrike drones, this is a school that's the best thing about Virginia Tech is their entrance. So it's great to see the state of Virginia it's so cool. But it's awesome to see them just have something to hang on their mantle. At the same time, this is a textbook look-ahead game for Florida State last week, right? You have Miami coming to town this week, and you know this is kind of your marquee game of the year. Forget Bama, like that's out of conference. This is the one that you really need to show up and show out for. I think last week's a fluke. I do think that this is going to be another one of those moments where a Florida State win over Miami is going to really shake some shit up in the ACC. That was kind of just banking on Clemson running through the conference, and then all of a sudden Miami looks like an actual top 5 team in the country after that Notre Dame game week 1, the dominance of their front 7. I'm excited to see this matchup because of Castellanos' ability to get out of the pocket, make the scramble plays, etc. But if he's not hitting throws, if his stat line looks like it did last week in terms of airing the ball out, they're fucking shredding their like entire playbook, their program. It's going to have to be a complete rebuild again next season, because I don't care if you're just like, oh, it's better than last year. Florida State fans demand excellence. They're in the Dallas Cowboys camp where it's like they haven't really done anything relevant. One national championship, right, in our lifetimes. And outside of that, it's been a long time since anyone's given a fuck about Florida State football. They do, again, this year, make me continue to. This is the game that you have to do it on. I feel like this is a great spot for Florida State at home, but you got to get that pressure on Carson back or else it's going to be not good for the rest of the boys.
Yeah, nobody wants pressure on Carson Beck more than Carson Beck, but yeah, Pete.
And that brings up a good point. Mr. Jones, I have a question for you. Does the hungry dog run faster, or does the well-rested dog whose family loves him and gives him a lot of cuddles and boops?
Faster? Do they run faster?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the dog that's hungry is going to run faster 10 times out of 10. Which dog is going to be more happy about their life and maybe come together with a better game plan, more of a teamwork atmosphere, like, hey, we could all run a similar speed and maybe help each other out. Maybe that's the dog that gets the boops and the love. But strictly faster, like put them on the world stage, Doha 2 years ago, Tokyo this year. I love my track. So, yeah, the hungry dog does run faster. Long-winded way to say that.
That's what we have in the college football season. It's 12 one-week sprints, and that's exactly what we have in this matchup. You have this Florida State team, as we already covered in detail. Big disappointing loss last weekend. They essentially need I don't want to say run the table, but they need to be really impressive down the stretch, which includes beating Miami this weekend. And then you have Miami coming off of a bye. You also have Carson Beck under center, who we've talked about extensively. He's won some big road games in the SEC, right? This guy has been there. He has done that. So long as these guys are all healthy and they're able to kind of execute their game plan, I don't see a world in which they're not at least very competitive in this game. So I don't have an issue laying a 4.5 on the Beck experiment on the road here. But I think that's just more of a case of a spot play for me. These guys being the Miami Hurricanes, they want to stay in this national prominence. They want to stay in the spotlight, and they could effectively bury this Florida State program this week with a win.
Bury them. I don't think they will, but bury them.
So we have a handful of other games this weekend, none of which we are going to cover on this week's episode. But those are the two that'll probably be on your TVs. I have a handful of picks I'd like to rattle off. I don't know if you guys have any prepared that you want to share with the Rent Money faithful. But just to recap, I went 1-2 last week. Although I will say the Texas Pete's Texas Play of the Week, North Texas covered last week, 13.5 points. It's 2-0 on the season. I have another one for you guys coming up here. Okay. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was our first cover of the season. That's Texas at Florida, which could have been a great matchup, but DJ Lagway decided to suck dick this year.
Fucking
It's going to be Texas team total over 24.5. Texas, the Longhorns are coming off a bye, searching for their first Power 4 win of the season. 2 full weeks to game plan for this. Get the offense in tune. Sark has been working these boys. Give me over 24.5 points for the Texas team at even money. So there's some good value there for you value hounds. Can't lose, guaranteed. And if it does lose, reach out to old Chisholm.
Yeah, dude, put it on Chisholm's name. All right,
yep.
Chisholm.
Yep. Rib J, what do you got? Anything prepped?
No, I was waiting for you to go.
Right,
I got a couple things, but I was just gonna.
I got 6 plays.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I got 6. First one, Colorado State. Shout out to Colorado State. They haven't been as relevant since Shador left, but
Colorado State.
Yeah, I feel like no one really cares about them anymore. That was kind of like the game.
That game.
Like, Colorado.
You remember that one game?
Yeah, dude, they were laying everybody out. They were like, this team's dirty. This
not last year, but 2 years ago.
2 seasons ago.
That was big.
Dude, that game was on at like 1 a.m. It was
everyone
still on at the bars at 1
I thought you were going to say that game was on at 1 a.m. last weekend, and I couldn't turn it off, even knowing the result.
Everyone and their mother was like that. That game is one of those that you're like, for whatever reason, I'll never forget it. Probably because Travis Hunter got fucking murdered on the sideline by a terrible ball thrown by Shador.
He was out like a week.
Yeah,
2.
and it's Shadour's fault, but that's why he's a 6th-round draft pick or whatever the fuck he was. Colorado State,
he's a
taking
mimer.
them. Yeah, 100%. +6 on the road going to San Diego State. I got them over the Aztecs. Game 2, we're sticking with the Mountain West vibe. Wyoming +3.5 hosting UNLV. We're going to take the home dog there on that one. You like Mountain State or Mountain West? Let's go for 3. Nevada on the road going to Fresno State +13.5. They're going to get that hook, and it's going to be just fine inside of 10.
As a matter of fact, here's 2 more for you. You guys know that LeBron meme? You know what I'm talking about? Here's another one.
No, I don't. I just know that he likes to fake read the Godfather books. I don't know.
Mario Pucci or something, I think was his name. Great book, by the way.
Go ahead. Keep rolling, Chisholm.
Up next, Vandy at Bama. I'm going to play this one the way that I see it rolling, and that's where both teams are going to have to put up some points. I go over 55.5 in this one. Final 2 picks, same game. Boise State going on the road to Notre Dame. Malachi Nelson, so bad that he couldn't get this starting job. I don't know where the fuck he is anymore. But whoever's is it Madsen Maddox that's still the quarterback at Boise State? It does not matter. Gentie's gone. I don't give a fuck about Boise State. This is also going to be the Scott's Tots listener lock of the week. Notre Dame -20.5. Shout out to Scott's Tots.
Whoa.
Notre Dame -20.5 for the listener lock of the week. And I'm going to go ahead and double down on that one, taking Boise State and Notre Dame over 62.5. Mind you guys, this is coming off of a dog shit, abysmal 2-8 last week, putting me at 18-26 on the year.
No.
But as all of those know, the year 1826 was a big year for Canadian expeditions up into the Beaufort Sea area. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with my guns, trust myself, and understand that, 26 is the holy grail number for me right now. We got to get back to that on the winning side. So those are my 6 plays for this week, hopefully getting us to 24 and 26 on the year. Rib J, over to you.
I'm a little unprepared over here, Rib J. I did not count up my bets from last week, and I'm sure they were so good. I actually know they were good. But we got Iowa State at Cincinnati this week. Wow, this is a fun one for all of you degenerate gamblers out there. You know what's going to happen. Iowa State's out their second Chuck Bednack preseason cornerback of the year award. They had 2. They had 1 on each side. They're both hurt. They're both gone. I don't revel in this. I'm not excited about it. But I'm going to take the over in this game. And this one, I have it written down. I was that prepared. 27.5 Cincinnati's team total over. This is the most obvious bet of all time. That's all I got to say about that. You're down your 2 starting quarterbacks. Iowa State's been playing with fire all year. The next one I got for us is Texas. I think they're -6.5 against Florida. Yep. Do I think Texas is as good as they were hyped up to be? Maybe, maybe not. Do I think they're going to be world beaters all season? Probably not. Do I think this is a Florida team that, just like last week, I bet against Arkansas, thinking that their coach was going to show up and play for them? And Notre Dame just absolutely waxed them, put it on them. I see that kind of game coming in store for Florida this week. Texas has a lot to prove and a lot to put on the line of just like, hey, we do have dominance. We can fucking lay it on somebody. And this Florida team, I think it's done. I think they're over with. I think they had their chance last week to ship, get it all right, get it all fucking focused. However you want to say it, it's done. It's over. They're going to get waxed. Along with that, I also think the first half under 21.5. Yeah, you're going to take that as well. The last game we got, let's see. I'm looking at the wrists. Oh, just Iowa State. They're going to lose -1.5. We're going to take Cincinnati -120. Both the cornerbacks are out. We already talked about that a little bit. This is just a rat line because if you just presented me with Iowa State -1.5 against Cincinnati, I would just jump at the opportunity to take that. And so this is just one where I'm just going to do the opposite. We're going to take Cincinnati plus 1.5. Maybe
Minus
some more to
1.5.
come.
This
was Cincinnati.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. Pretty unprepared for those lies, but I feel good about them, and maybe we get a few more. Maybe they'll get out to you. Maybe they won't. If you be so lucky.
That's just something you're gonna have to fucking live with.
Working on a graphic for you guys. What are we at? Week 6. You know, we might get one this week.
Hey, beyond that though, dude, I got so much to talk about. I got Home Depot, dude. Home Depot's been pissing me off.
What did Home Depot do?
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. You leave mean emails, not the first time or the second time you send them. Maybe the third time. Hey, I'm a little upset right now, and maybe me threatening a bad review is gonna do what you need to do. Well, that didn't help at all. So I said, I got a highly listened to college football podcast. We got sponsors, Vienna Beef, many more, but Vienna Beef's always one of our all-time favorites. I said, I got lots of sponsors, lots of listeners. Magic Show. And I'm going to have to bring this up on the podcast. And you know what? That didn't do the job in terms of bringing us what we needed, but so be it. I'm going to say it anyways. We constructed a credenza. I learned this word credenza this year. You guys know what a credenza is? It's ridiculous.
I know what a credenza is.
Well, yeah. I'm fairly familiar, quasi knowledgeable.
Well, I'm very quasi. I had no idea, and then I heard everybody talking about them, and so we got one, and we set this thing up. There's like 30 screws in it on the first half, and another 20 in the back half, and long story short, we get to the very last part of the screwing in. We're putting the legs onto this bitch, turning it over, game time. Put the legs on, turn it over, have a day. Put the legs on, turn it over, have a day. Only half of the wooden board is screwed in with the screws that we're going to change these little fuckers up into. Do you know how disappointing that is? It took us like 2.5 hours. We told Home Depot, hey, guys, here's some pictures. You only screwed in half the board. Best they can do. Reassemble it, send it back to us, order it again, 25% off. I'm still flabbergasted.
That's a slap in the face.
Home Depot, pull it together. I don't know if I'm doing the best job of explaining the situation and how upset I am. Maybe I'm
You're not doing a very good job.
Maybe
but
I'm
you
not.
seem upset.
You're upset.
So upset. Thank you, Texas Pete. Thank you, Old Chisholm.
We're here for you.
Thank you, the listeners, if you're still with us. Home Depot is somebody to be trifled with.
I'll tell you what, I've always been a Lowe's guy.
Wow.
Jimmy Johnson.
Wow. And that is just a little something about Texas Pete.
I think it's very important that I call out the GOAT of all of these places and where you can save big money at Menards. Very proud Menards fan since day one. Great jingle, great people. Lumber section is the greatest hangover cure that I know of to date. Take it all in.
Smells great. That's awesome. Mr. Jones, I'm sorry about your credenza. I'm sorry that the board and the little screws weren't screwed in there.
Yeah, dude, it took like 3 hours.
I understand how that would be really frustrating. It takes time. Anything worthwhile does take time.
Last step.
And
did they want you to just? Can I just ask? Were you supposed to be drilling a hole? Like, was that a hole that you drill, or is that one that they were expected to be drilling?
No, they give you the handout. You unfold it. You can look and they say, put these in, right and left. And Chisholm, to his credit, said, what if you just drilled the holes that were missing? It'd be awesome. Except for that all these holes already have like little screw mongers in there, I'm not. So you got to take the screws they give them, mong them in there, Mog Nation. And no, we're not going to, I'm not like that.
It's all right.
So did you keep the credenza?
No, I'm looking at it. It's actually fucked. I'm going to have to unscrew it and then repackage it into the box, cardboard, and
that sounds even worse.
Yeah, walk it. No, actually, I'm on their ass. They said they're gonna like send some guys to come pick it up. I said, hey, you guys do what you need to do. The last thing I'm gonna do is unscrew these 40 fucking screws, repackage it, and then walk this 60-pound credenza to the UPS store 5 blocks away. They're out of their goddamn mind. But the best they can do is 25%. Home Depot, I told you I was gonna do it. Here I am fulfilling my promise over email. Bad company.
No good. Thank you for sharing.
Damn.
Thank you. Any more credenza talk before I close out my picks for this week's slate? Wonderful. So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but laying Miami 4.5 on the road against Florida State. And we have, I believe, maybe our first triple dipper alert of the season.
I had one.
Anyone have a triple dipper? Okay. The second triple dipper alert of the
first
season.
Potential winner.
Vandy at Bama. That's right. We're taking Bama team total over 34.5. We're going to take over for the game at 55.5, and I'm going to lay the 10.5 for Bama. And then we have a system play. We have an armed forces game that we didn't talk about, so that's an auto bet under.
God
the Air Force at Navy under 51.5. That's a system. I got the email in my inbox, and it's the first thing I put in when I woke up this morning. So Air Force at Navy under 51.5. Respect the armed forces. Respect the troops. Clemson at UNC. If you asked 6 weeks ago, this probably would be a pretty highly touted game, just given the media coverage surrounding both these programs. But it got flexed into a noon slot. But Snoop Dogg already promised to perform, or I guess contractually is supposed to perform before this game. So he's getting on stage at like 9:45 in the morning before this game.
Sipping on gin and juice, baby.
Yep. So 1, 2, 3 into the foe. Bill Belichick and Dabo. We're going to take the over 46.5 here. Over 46.5. Clemson. Thank you very much. Felt good about that one. Clemson at UNC. Wake Forest plus 7.5 at Virginia Tech. Wake looked fucking incredible last weekend. I don't know if you guys caught that Wake versus Georgia Tech game. Haynes King, the greatest overtime quarterback in college football history, pulls it off yet again. This guy is just unbeatable. Virginia Tech coming off their firing of their coach 2 weeks ago. They won last week against NC State. I don't see that new coach bump continue. So we're going to be taking the Demon Deacons plus 7 on the road. And that will, along with the Texas Pete's Texas Play of the Week with Texas team total over 24.5. That wraps up my slate. So, Mr. Jones, Mr. Chisholm, it's been a pleasure. Week 6 coverage. Apple Orchard weekend, fall wedding weekend. It should be all right, but one thing I'm grateful for is the air in my lungs, the sun in my eyes. I woke up, I'm still an American, and I have college football on Saturdays. So, Mr. Chisholm, why don't you go ahead and put a bow on this shit for us?
I can do that. Don't forget playoff baseball. It's the greatest playoff event environment that's not on ice. So give that one a look here at some point over the course of the next few days. I know the Cubbies coming up on a big game 3. My Boston Red Sox will be taking on the Yankees in game 3 as well. They got shafted earlier tonight. Garrett Whitlock really pissed the bed. But while I'm going to do a quick check-in with the family, make sure that everybody knows, that I'm still here, still witnessing. Just don't like to be on my phone as much during these games nowadays. Tension's very high, but getting back on my phone here after this pod. I know you guys probably see me firing off a few texts, letting people know I'm alive. My next text though, and this is one I would highly encourage for all of you to send as well, will be over to my bookie, just to let them know that we say hi. Cheers.
And we're coming harder.
Fuck Home Depot.